Anybody that doesn't think that the committee puts matchups together would not be able to use this one as evidence. So it's a lot of fun. They play young kids. We play young kids. They start a couple of freshmen. They went young. I've known Lynn and Gavin and their staff for a long time, haven't been in the Pac-12. Similar styles of play. Rarely do you look at a stat sheet and see a group that shoots more threes than we do, but they're one of them. So exciting matchup. Get to play in a great city. Our group's really, really excited about it. And I know I've spoke with Lynn. I know their group is too. So looking forward to a fun matchup.
Paul.
Can you just speak to I know we've talked about it a little bit before, but just the difference from last year, being cooped up in the hotel room and all that. How do you feel like that translated to how you guys played and how you feel like that could be a difference this year?
Directly proportional. We were not ourselves on the floor. I didn't feel like until the very, very end. So I think it was directly proportional. I really do. I know people will say that was an excuse, but there's a difference between excuses and reasons. So I think it was directly proportional. I don't know what it's going to be like. We got off a Zoom call yesterday with all 68 teams, and the NCAA been talking about all the different changes with the equity issues that resulted as of last year. And they say we're going to notice a big, big difference. So I think when you couple that with how bad it was, last year, how hard it was, I think our kids are in for an unbelievable, memorable experience. And hopefully, for Mac and Aaron and Alana and Amber, Avery, Destiny, those kids that have been around, Riley, it'll help make up for it a little bit too.
And I'll follow up with one, just a little more on Utah. I know they have a 6'5" kid. I mean, are they more perimeter? Do you feel like they play very similar to you?
They do. Their big kid will remind you of the girl from Mississippi State, Charlotte Cole, a little bit. And the rest of their team will remind you of Missouri. They can all shoot it. They will all shoot it. And yeah, they're very perimeter oriented. They had a post player that was kind of a presence on the block, but she injured her knee in the quarterfinals of their Pac-12 tournament. So they played a couple of games without her now. But yeah, think of a mix between Missouri and Mississippi State.
Okay. Jordan.
When you talk about playing a lot of young kids, how do you talk to them about the spotlight that's on you during the tournament?
I've let Amber and Michaela and Aaron kind of take that role in preparing them. I think it comes across better from the kids that have to do it, than hearing from, somebody that they look at me like, well, you've never had to do it. Why would I listen to you? So let Amber and Matt tell that story, and Aaron. And I told them to be very selective in telling those stories because, to be honest with you, I kind of like the blissful naivety sometimes that Sam and Jersey and those guys have. Emory, they don't know what to expect. So I think being very careful and letting them experience it on their own terms. But do make sure they know the difference. When you get down there, there's more cameras, there's more eyes, there's fewer teams playing. So be aware of it, but embrace it and go enjoy it. I think that's what makes this part fun. The bag tags and the open, lots of cameras at practice and, things like that. I think it's fun to see the kids' reaction. I look forward to seeing our young kids in that situation.
Russell.
Do you look a little more at the Cal games, being the common opponent there and trying to figure out who's, their heights and their quickness and everything like that?
We did watch that, and the kids used that to their exam. They were like, hey, I remember how fast Curry was. This kid's similar to that. So it's always fun to have a common opponent. It was so long ago that we played Cal that we kind of chose to make like an all-star team out of SEC players. Players that we were a little more recency bias to it. So like one of the kids wrote on there, Lauren Hansen, but taller. Another girl, one of our kids, I've been letting them do a lot of the scouting reports. They made the Charlotte Cole reference. Quite frankly, I hadn't made that connection, but that was spot on. So it's fun to see who they use as a point of reference, but we've used more of the SEC teams than the Cal teams. I think the players did, but I know as coaches, we use that Cal game a lot because the roster is not always the best thing to look at when it comes to height. But I think theirs is pretty true to form. Their guards are all 5'11", 5'10"-ish. So they're really long. And I think their heights are pretty much true to what they list. But yeah, we made kind of an all-star team out of the SEC teams.
And then Coach Pittman visited with the team yesterday. Whose idea was that, and what was his message to him?
Well, it started with our selection show. I don't know if y'all saw it, but we had like 7 girls glued to the back window, and I was like, "What is going on?" They were watching football practice. So I went back and kind of made the obligatory jab on watching the football team. They said, "We're watching Coach Pittman. We love Coach Pittman." Mac was just giddy about Coach Pittman. And I said, "Well, have you never met him?" And she goes, "No, I've always been afraid. I see him walking on campus, but I'm afraid to approach him because he's always looks so determined, or he's got his headphones in." So I said, "Guys, he's one of the nicest guys you've ever met. Next time." And then I said, "You know what?" So I just reached out to him. We text a lot. I think a lot's been made about our coaches group that we text more than any place I've ever been by a factor of about 100. But I simply sent him a text. "I know you're busy. Is there any time you could carve out?" And he said, "You tell me a time, I'll be there." And he came in and just walked down. We had to stop practice. I mean, Mac went, she would thought she saw the Beatles or somebody. I don't know, I don't know even who to put in reference, but she was noticeably moved, and Emery and Aaron Barnum got pictures made. A lot of them got over there. And then he had some really great words just about how he's watched. I mean, he's been at a lot of our games. This is not the first time he's been there. He's been very, very supportive. It was just the first time he got a chance for some of our kids to get pictures with him. And that was really cool for him to do and for them to experience.
Jacob.
Mike, all the young players that you guys have, as they continue to grow over the next 2-3 years, how important is the experience that they're having right now, their freshman year or either their first year with the team, that they're getting to the SEC tournament? They got an SEC tournament win. Now they're going to the NCAA tournament. I mean, with other veterans that have come through this program, they really didn't have that their freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah, I don't think you can put a value on it because it really is priceless. You can talk about it, but them telling the stories, player told stories are so much better than coach told stories. Like me talking about our Final 14, it means nothing to that. That has no bearing. But hearing Amber talk about how she felt having her family watch play, and that those things carry on. So now they're going to become great storytellers to our next couple of classes that come in. Then the experience that these guys will carry over. For us to make the NCAA tournament with this team, I think now we set up an expectation for this group to go, all 4 years. I know Jersey and Sam and Emery and Ashlyn were talking about that, along with Saylor in that group now, and you add Merriam to it. They're talking about wanting to make All-Star Thursday something we do every year, and the watch party. They want these things to be every year. I said, well, they don't happen if you don't get in. So I think it'll carry over to the weight room this summer, the sand pit, our strength and conditioning workouts, our early season workouts. Being there and let them tell the stories instead of coaches having to do it. That to me is when you have a chance to have a program, not just a team.
Go back to Jordan.
Coach, I'm working on a story with Sam's high school coach, where I coincidentally am also an alum. And I wanted to know what you saw in her in high school. I know you've talked a little bit about this, but I know you don't normally grab a lot of kids from Fort Lauderdale. So what you saw in her, and maybe what her coach told you about her as well.
Well, it started with our grassroots program. Miguel and Obel and Paul Torres. I've known those guys with the Miami Suns. They were one of the first programs I kind of got to know 22 years ago. They had Sylvia Fowles. They had Tamika Johnson. They had a bunch of great players at Florida. And I was at Tulsa at the time. And they were really, really nice to me. They were like, "Coach, listen, we're going to let you hang out with us, and, we'll see you there, but you ain't getting any of our kids." Y'all just aren't there yet. And it was great of him. And I've tried over years to get him. Well, he picked the phone up and called us and said, we got a kid that wants to get out of the state of Florida. And she's pretty committed to that. She plays y'all style. She looks like your players. Come watch us and see what you think. I was already at a different place, so I sent Coach Todd down there to watch, and he texted me immediately, and he said, yeah, they're right. This kid, she's got what we need. And then reaching out and getting to know her parents and then her high school scholastic coaches as well. They all said the same thing, and that this kid does what she says. She's not going to say something and then not do it. So we got her up here on an unofficial visit, and it was almost an immediate connection. We could talk to this kid. You could tell she could communicate. She was going to be a great teammate. She was not. There's maintenance and high maintenance on official visits and unofficial visits. This kid was no maintenance. She was over there doing her thing. She asked great questions. So it went from finding out about her to hoping we could get her before everybody else knew about her. And we were lucky that was able to happen. Kind of collapse that time frame a little bit and get her committed before she went back out on the summer circuit. Because after she committed, it wasn't the end. People kept trying, but she was so loyal and so again, the reason that word is commitment. She was committed to us. So, but you could tell it didn't take a great evaluator or a great recruiter or a great salesman or anything. Anybody that would have been in our shoes that saw what we saw and experienced what we experienced with our people, you knew this kid needed to be a Razorback, and we needed her at the time. So she's just she's unique. Not all recruiting stories go like that. Hers is pretty special. And they won state again this year. I guess you saw that. Yeah, that's a powerhouse.
Yeah, in a lot of sports.
Oh yeah, exactly. I didn't
No,
realize
it didn't
you were
used to
from
be
there.
in basketball. Yeah.
It was football. Yeah, they've got football players all over the NFL.
It's that time of year as college basketball takes center stage with the tournament finally upon us. If you're looking to wager this year, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all your updated odds and info, along with great contests, including the bracket contest, where you can have a chance to take home the top prize. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. Bet online, where the game starts.